Wait. Ah, okay. Okay, so I think we are live now. Yeah, now I see that it's live. Okay, thank you, Polgar. Uh, so we are live. Very good. So, okay, so hello everyone and welcome to the stream number 1 of Tatoeba. So before we start with the real content of the stream, I just want to take a few minutes to explain so why this stream. So the goal in general is to show people how Tatoeba works behind the scene, because Tatoeba is actually an open source project which is developed and maintained primarily by volunteers. And we have lots of ideas, we have lots of things to do, and there's lots of things piling up over time, but there is really too few people who can take care of it. Like, in fact, the whole weight of Tatoeba, I would say, lies on the shoulders of way too few people. And so I wanted to find a way to show to people who might not be aware, like, how Tatoeba actually works, and to show it in a way that is a little bit more interactive. So that's what we're gonna do. And so today is the first stream of a series of streams that we will do. I don't know for how long exactly, but probably for the next couple of months, or maybe for the next 6 months. We'll have to see. And the main thing we're going to do during the stream is that we're going to try to actually solve real problems, real real things that Tatoeba needs, and we're just going to do it live to show people like how things are getting done. Right. So today, maybe we switch. So the stream today, we're going to be the 4 of us. So just presenting you the participant today. First of all, Ricardo, who is who's actually taking care of the languages in Tatoeba. Whenever there's a new language that needs to be supported in Tatoeba, it will. I mean, he's part of the people who takes care of that. We have Gilux, who is one of the core developers of Tatoeba. So
Hello.
he has contributed a lot of code. And we have Polgar, who is fairly new to Tatoeba, I would say. And
Hi there.
he will be our guinea pig, if I should say. Today, he will be the one who will be doing solving a problem. And the problem we're solving today is how to install Tatoeba on your machine. So I'm going to explain that a little bit more. Maybe we switch to my screen. I have to share screen, sorry. Yep. Okay. All right. So the goal of today is to teach Polgar and everyone who's interested how to run Tatoeba on your machine. Meaning that so we have a website over here. So we have so we have the real Tatoeba website, right? Where you can have all the features of Tatoeba. But Tatoeba is an open source project which you can also contribute to. So if there's anything you want to change in Tatoeba, you have the possibility to submit changes. So to look around in the source code and to change the source code and to submit these changes. And there's a possibility that what you're suggesting gets actually deployed on the real website. But so to be able to do that, you will want to be able to have kind of a sandbox, like your own little Tatoeba on your own computer to be able to test whichever changes you want to make. And so today the goal is to teach Polgar and everyone else who is interested how to do that. So just to show you the end goal of how to, like, I will show you. So I have Tatoeba installed on my machine, and I will just show you. So right now I'm just starting Tatoeba. It takes 30 seconds or so. Okay, while it's loading, maybe one thing I should emphasize is that, so today we have like some participants, but if any one of you in watching the stream is interested in joining and actually participating, actually doing stuff, like you are really free to join. You just have to contact me. So either by private message on Tatoeba or by email. I mean, I will communicate ways of how to reach me, but this is everybody is welcome to join the stream and to try to do stuff with us. So I have now started Tatoeba, and what I can do from here is I can go to this special URL, localhost 8080. And this is actually accessing like my own Tatoeba. So this is something that is just for me. Nobody else can access it. And in this Tatoeba, it's basically a copy of the real Tatoeba website, but with everything completely empty. So there's almost no sentence. I just have a few sentences which I added for testing, but like it's really empty. So there's no. If we look at the list of users, there's like no users, and yeah, if we go and check the stats, we have only like 3 sentences here. So it's really a sandbox, and that's what Polgar is going to try to achieve today. So that on his side, if he types localhost 8080 on his browser, he can also have his own little Tatoeba running. So if that's okay, Polgar, we switch to your screen.
Yes. Might take a while, but yeah, now it should be working.
Okay. It's
So yeah,
loading up.
from what I hope it will load.
Okay, we can see your screen now. So
Okay, fine.
okay, so yeah, the way we're going to do this is that we're going to let you read the guide. So there is a guide on how to install Tatoeba, and we're going to let you read the guide and go through the steps of installing it. And then if there's something you don't understand through the steps, or if there's something like there's a question that pops up in your mind while you're reading the steps, just ask us, and we will try to answer that. So just to point out where the installation guide is, you have to, so this is the GitHub repository. So this is where the source code of Tatoeba is hosted. And if you scroll down a little bit, there will be the README. Right, and in this README, the first paragraph, it's the second paragraph, sorry, installing Tatoeba. There is a link to the instructions on how to install Tatoeba.
Okay, so right here. Okay, so here is what we are going to need.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the general specifications are met. And hopefully this applies for the most of us. So basically, there are three pieces of software to install, from what I understand, to make Tatoeba work on
Mm-hmm.
your machine. So first of all, there is Git for cloning the repository itself.
Yep.
Actually, so I suppose it wouldn't be a big problem to install it, but yes, I'm using Git, so I already have this installed. So
Yeah. Okay.
this won't be a problem for now.
Okay.
Then the next thing is Virtualbox. So I'm going to open this because I've used Virtualbox before, but I don't have just now. So now let's it should start.
Yeah, the only thing here is like I guess it might ask you at some point. I don't know if it's for this one or just for Vagrant. It might ask you to restart your computer, but I guess it can still work. As far as we've tried with Ricardo last week, it should still work even if you don't start your
Yeah,
computer.
yeah, we will see, but it might work without.
Yeah.
Actually, I would be more happy to install to F drive. But other than that, I suppose defaults can work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need this. Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope so.
All right. So yeah. So then yeah, then now it's just about just about waiting. So yeah, during the stream, I mean installing Tatoeba in itself, it's probably going to be more waiting time than other things. And so if anyone in the stream has questions about anything, I mean not necessarily technical questions about Tatoeba installation, but general questions, we can also use a bit of the downtime to answer these questions. So feel free to use the live chat to ask your questions. And I mean, Ricardo, I guess I can count on you to check the chats and to let me know if anybody is asking a question that that is worth answering.
All right.
Thank you. All right. So I think you just install now VirtualBox.
Yes, I think it should be fine now.
Okay. Maybe you want to just start VirtualBox. I mean, start the program to check. I mean, also to show people what it looks like. Yeah. Okay.
Oh
So
yeah, no surprise. So I
yeah.
had a virtual machine that's not available anymore, so I'm gonna
Okay.
delete it.
Okay. But yeah. So that's VirtualBox. You don't need. I mean, you don't really need to have this open to start Tatoeba, but you could leave it open if you want to see like what it looks like when the Tatoeba virtual machine is added.
Yes, I'm curious because I suspect that it will open VirtualBox, so maybe it won't make a difference at the end of the day.
No, like
Anyways,
yeah. I mean, I when I showed earlier, maybe I don't know if you're watching my screen when I showed earlier, but when I typed the command to start Tatoeba, actually it didn't launch. I mean, it will use, of course, VirtualBox, but it doesn't launch like the window of VirtualBox itself.
Yes, I think I've seen it both ways. Anyway, so there is a third software that we should
Mhm.
install in order to make things work. And yes, that would be Vagrant, which is mostly for, well, I don't know, probably this isn't the professional term, but it's a bit like orchestrating the virtual environment.
Mhm.
So setting things up automatically so that it works together as simply as Trang has already shown. So basically, by one command, all necessarily actions can be taken to make it start
Mhm.
as a complete system, as if you had complete physical host. So yes, I think we need to get through this usual installational part.
Yeah, as you said, this background thing is orchestrating, is actually running um, VirtualBox behind the scenes to make the whole thing work. And VirtualBox runs a virtual machine, so it's like a computer inside your computer that has everything already set up to run Tatoeba.
Yes, well, fingers crossed. But yeah, this should make sure that not many things can go wrong because it doesn't matter that much what environment I have or someone has who wants to make this work because the virtual environment will be the same as if we had the exact same computer running inside
Yeah.
our system. So hopefully it will work out as well as it sounds in theory.
Okay. Well, this is installing. So, Polgar, I mean, I didn't really know you before, but I sense that you're doing something really. I mean, you are already familiar with programming, right? So you have some development knowledge already, correct?
Yes,
So do you work as a developer in your daily job, or is it just like a hobby and you
yes,
just okay?
yes, actually I do. So yes, VirtualBox is something that I pretty much use on a daily basis.
Okay. And maybe while this is installing, so the point that the fact that you are installing now Tatoeba is hopefully that we'll see you again in one of the next sessions so that we can work on something together and on something that you would like you personally would like to see in Tatoeba. So we've discussed that a bit before, that you wanted to be able to retrieve messages from the wall to be able to display them in Discord, if I remember properly. Is that
Yes,
correct? Okay. Okay. So yeah, I guess I mean this is not really something like integrating the wall to other communication channels. That's not really something I've really thought of before. Uh, but just out of curiosity, so is there a particular reason? Like, what kind of is it? Just like you want to see in Discord whenever somebody posts in the wall, you just get a notification in Discord, so like you can be notified more in real time, of all the messages of the wall, or is there other purpose behind it?
Well, let's say that's the low level, that's the direct purpose. At the end of the day, I think it would be good to have a sort of solid and flexible communication channel for Tatoeba, and since I use Discord all the time and I like this platform, I
Mm-hmm.
thought it would be good to have a Discord server for Tatoeba, and I think it will be the bare minimum of integrating with the already existing project to be able to at least display messages
Mm-hmm.
from the wall, so that it's kind of brought into the Discord server.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So we finished the installation of Vagrant. Yeah, here we're
So
gonna
yeah,
skip the
let's try
restart.
it without. So far so good. I have supposedly all three programs installed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is about setting up Git. Oh yes, I'm not sure how it's set, but I can try running this
Yeah.
command.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
think
maybe
that
we'll have to fix a bit the the presentation here because it's kind of weird how the image is placed
yes, I'm not
next to the
sure
menu.
what I managed to. Yes, it seems
Okay.
good. So I have this Git
Yeah.
command line open.
Maybe you're
Oh
missing a
yeah,
dot.
the this motion. I'm not sure whether the well, yeah, the dot does belong to the command, but I'm not sure whether it's fitting here. But yes, this is surely one command. Oh yeah, git config. It was missing.
Yeah, because the Git
Yeah,
is all the way up there. Yeah, the
yeah,
present.
yes, it was right
Yeah.
here.
Okay,
I
I'm
didn't
writing it
notice.
down as a to-do to fix fix presentation of
So
the
yes,
README.
it did run for sure now.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, the next step is probably some people who are less familiar with Git as a version control system um, might have some questions or might find this,
Mm,
I don't know, not trivial or interesting
yeah. So
how
like this.
things work. So yeah, forking is basically it's like copying a repository. So you have a repository with the same content, but it's all yours. So directly you can't just do whatever with a public repository because you don't own it. You don't have that sort of control over it. But you can make a sort of copy of it that you can further develop as you would wish. So that's what we are going to do here. So I clicked on fork on GitHub. Of course, if you want to do this, you will need to have a GitHub account. Otherwise, you can download or in the Git terminology, clone the repository without creating your own version of it. But if you are going to make changes, it's pretty much necessary to have your own version, or it's easier to keep it online
Right.
if you have your own version.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, this step that you just did, forking the repository, it would be let's say optional. So if you want to really contribute code to Tatoeba, yes, you will need to go through the step of forking. But if you just want to try out installing Tatoeba on your machine, this step is not really necessary.
Yeah, and if you install without the GitHub account, and then later on you think, oh, maybe I'm gonna start working, submitting some changes, you can always switch your the cloned repository to a new remote, so it's possible to do that after.
All right, so now you have the clone.
Okay, so far so good. So this is the part that's important either way. Either if you clone, either if you fork the repository, or if you are going to use it directly, the original version. So clone a local copy. Actually, I think this is going to be fine. I'm just not 100% sure where I can find the link, but yeah, here it is in GitHub. So I'm gonna use this HTTPS link. This is probably the simplest,
Mhm.
and I think the most universal way to make this copy work. Can go into new programs. Maybe I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really used um, command line on Windows, but yeah, probably some extra write would be necessary. So I'm gonna just use good old file explorer, create a folder just to be sure. Yeah, well, this can cause problems. I think I'm gonna restart this command line as administrator to make it sure, because my destination seems to be protected.
Mhm.
So this is the folder that I wanted to use, and this is the interesting part. So I have the link of the repository copied, and then I can type git clone and the link itself.
Right, and now it's downloading the source code.
So yes, I would say this is a pretty simple step, and this works pretty much the same way no matter what operating system out of the big three computer operating systems you are using,
Mhm.
and it should be all set up right now. So yes, here it is. It created this Tatoeba 2 folder, which is the repository itself. So you can see all the files. So these are all on my computer right now. One can see them in the file explorer as well. So yes, here there are all of them. At least we can hope so. So this was the step with the cloning. I don't think I will need to use a proxy. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, so
maybe you can say something about the relevance of this, because
right,
I'm not
so
sure.
that's usually if like you're in a corporate network. So if you're at work, I guess your employer, I mean your company is going to have some sort of firewall or something that prevents you um, from accessing some sites and stuff like that. And so to be able to access the internet, you need to set up. But like if you're just from home, normally it's unlikely that you would need to set up the proxy.
And by the way, this proxy thing, I'm not even sure it's working because I haven't tested, and it's been here from the very beginning of the Google Summer of Code contributor who initially started that project.
Okay.
So
Okay, maybe we can remove that line because it's probably
Yes.
more like very advanced, more advanced stuff that
Yes,
99% of
and
people.
it's probably not relevant for most supposed
Mhm.
users.
that's true.
All right, I'm taking notes.
So yes, we can take a look at the next step. So make sure your current working directory is the location of your fork, I suppose. You should see a file called vagrant file in the current directory. Yes, I have kind of checked this. It's right here. So yes, you can see that it's actually here. So run this command to download and start up the Tatoeba VM, so virtual machine. So yes, it sounds simple. Maybe it will take quite some time. You will see. So I just type this here.
Yep. And now, I guess now is the moment where we're going to be waiting the most. So that of course depends on your on the speed of your internet connection. So if you have a ultra fast connection, maybe that takes just 3 minutes. If you have, I guess we can expect that it's gonna take like 20, maybe 30 minutes. If you have a very slow connection, yeah, that might take 1 hour. Who knows? I actually don't remember how long it took for me, so guess we're gonna experiment with you.
Yes, anyway, so far it seems to be working. So what we can see is what we have expected.
Mhm. Okay.
So I suppose this is how it should look like, but it might take a while.
Yeah, exactly. And normally, actually, so this command that you just typed is the same command that I typed when I wanted to start Tatoeba on my side. It's just that for you,
Well, this
it's
isn't.
Uh-huh.
well, then it doesn't go
This doesn't
all as
doesn't really
expected.
look
I think the box
as well
downloaded
anymore.
super fast, but then after that it threw some error.
So does incompatible character encoding? Is that the error here?
Yes, well, that's what it says.
All right.
Could you show a little bit more up the stack trace? Well, it's quite cryptic for the least,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think it has to do with character encoding. Um, maybe because of your installation of Windows or something special. I'm not sure.
Well, I guess we can try to Google the last, like the error message to see if we can find something about it. Maybe you can also like copy the whole stack trace, like from the Vagrant up. Just copy it in a paste bin or somewhere and give us the link to the paste bin. Then we. It might be a good idea to document these errors if other people have them.
Yes, this was something like this,
Mm-hmm.
at least.
Okay, still a bug. But that's okay. But that thread is like from 2014.
Yes, but sadly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's still the same thing.
It has to do with a special character in your username.
Yes, it's very possible,
What is the
but
language of your Windows installation?
Hungarian.
Ah, okay. So yeah, okay, I guess.
But anyways, let's change the default VM folder on VirtualBox references. So let's see if this can help, because
Mm-hmm.
many people seem to have liked this solution. I mean,
Right.
even my VirtualBox installation is
Mm,
Hungarian by default. But yeah, I wouldn't even want it to download here,
okay, then perfect. Let's
to be
change it.
fair. So, and yes, on the F folder, there won't be any stuff like that, I suppose. So, VirtualBox VMs. I hope it will have permission, because I think that's the next thing that can go wrong. Why this?
I'm not sure. I mean, I would even
Because I would
assume that.
suppose this should be the directory where it's actually installed, right? Or at least that's what I would.
Yeah.
I know that on GNU Linux, it downloads the VM on a folder that is under your username, like a app data or somewhere like there. So maybe this path includes a character that makes the whole thing crash. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know. It's
the
just strange that I can't see where Vagrant actually is. But maybe I can find it out from.
so I think the problem here is like, yeah, VirtualBox was set to download the VMs into a folder that had like Polgar's name basically, and in Polgar's name there's like these accents, and I guess that's what's not allowed for the characters. Like
Well,
there's like
let's try it once again,
yeah.
because it doesn't cost us anything. Yeah, well, now the difference is like the encodings aren't the same as previously.
It's not the same.
So it's not the same. Last time it was
Okay,
CP852 and
UTF.
UTF-8, and now
Mhm.
it's Windows 1250 and CPU852
Okay.
for those who like these names. Anyways, since I couldn't actually find out where Vagrant is,
When you installed Vagrant, like, did you have to select any folder of installation? I mean, we could watch the stream, like, go back in the stream and see how where you installed Vagrant. Um, but for me, by default, I can tell you it's like on the C folder, and then there's
I definitely wanted to install it under F, but
okay.
I couldn't really see it here. So, yeah, yes, let me just say the people who created all these programs didn't really have the high ideas of Tatoeba because the localization support is still terrible. So under embedded, for whatever reason, that's its name as of now. Interesting. Anyways, this is kind of a hint.
Okay, I'm just wondering, like, because I'm scrolling back through the stream to see like where you had installed your Vagrant, but I'm just wondering if the quality of the video is like visible enough for people to actually see what's happening. And I don't have access to very high quality, so I'm a bit concerned.
Yes, well, I don't know because sometimes it's like higher qualities are accessible later, but it would
Mm.
be strange if the same applied to, live streams. So, can I just copy this?
Maybe you need to put some double quotes behind, between the, or maybe not.
Well,
Someone,
okay, I
someone,
get this because,
sorry, someone on the chat says that it works perfectly for him or her.
Okay, okay.
Good to know. I'm wondering maybe if it has to do with the fact that you're using the Windows command line instead of the git bash thing. Like, I'm not familiar with this, but I know that you can select between either and tries using the other one, like that one.
yes, Git bash can't really access Windows locations properly from my experience.
Okay, I never really had issues with it, so okay. It's successfully added box,
Where do you see that?
but there are errors in the configuration of this machine. I mean, like what I'm reading. Oh, I had. No, I don't think I had these errors before.
Well, anyways, these are indeed like, I don't know, shell related errors. So I'm going to git bash here
Mhm.
in case that makes any difference.
Mm. Yeah, and then you have permission issues. Okay, that's what you were talking about.
Wait a second. Yeah, at least now I know how I can access this location. That already helps somewhat.
Oh, did I set the wrong site? Okay. Somebody's writing in
Even
the live. 1 second. Somebody is writing in the live chat that there was a message saying that Tatoeba would be down. Maybe because I set a expiration time. Oh, that was okay. I forgot to change this one to false.
Yeah, you used the.
Okay. No, yeah, I didn't notice that. I showed the announcement, but I didn't notice that the last option was to true instead of false. And I guess because I put a time for it to hide, it was like it had the logic of of preparing for shutdown. Okay, I hope the message is not there anymore. It's not there.
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay, so today we learned if you have a Hungarian operating system and you have some special characters somewhere in wherever path that is related to Vagrant or Virtualbox, then installing Tatoeba is a bit difficult.
Oh, you got the same error.
Yeah,
So
well, now that I said Vagrant home at least. Well, anyways, if it's installed, then well, I should see it somewhere, right?
yeah, it should appear here, but it's not. So something's wrong. I think that giving the error message you're seeing now, it's combining a path that is the current path until Tatoeba 2, and then the script install RVM has nothing to do with Tatoeba. It should be, I'm guessing, is something related to Vagrant or the how it's called Ansible. So it's another path problem.
That's where it should be.
All right.
Like, isn't this the path that I actually specified? So, I mean, right here.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you have to put double quotes around the path itself, because if there are spaces or stuff like that, I don't know if it like sets it properly.
I think it's
Well, I
okay. You
think
can try to echo the vagrant home variable to make sure, but
Yeah, you could try to output the vagrant variable to see what it got saved as.
Wow, Hungarian article, but it doesn't seem to be. I mean, it says the same thing that the GitHub page said, but like it doesn't say anything about like what if I don't have my Vagrant installed? Come on, yeah. So like I can do this, but
Yeah, no,
I
that's
don't
not.
have my Vagrant installation there, so
Yeah, that's not.
I'm not sure why this would work.
But maybe you could say what Gilux suggested before, just to figure out if like your vagrant home is really set to the correct value, or if it has like if it was saved wrongly because there are spaces in the path. Yeah, maybe you open a new terminal and just. I'm not sure what is the command exactly, if you have to echo or if you just have to type the environment variable to see what is the value of it.
or you just echo it, but you need to do that from the same terminal
Ah, okay.
because it's
Yeah,
bound
so
to this terminal's environment.
right now I'm just waiting
Okay.
because something happened differently yet again.
Oh, looks like it's working.
Okay.
So apparently it doesn't matter where Vagrant actually is, or at least I would be surprised if it was there where I
Yeah.
didn't even want to install it. And yeah, it doesn't seem like
Yeah.
there is anything with H, HashiCorp slash Vagrant.
Wow, that's super strange.
But anyways, if it works, so
Okay.
something seems better than before. So
Hmm. Yeah, so when you run Vagrant up for the first time, it's gonna boot up the machine and also run a bunch of commands to do some initial setup of the box, such as updating the running whatever update that happened before we created that box and right now. But then later on, when you run Vagrant up again, it's only bringing up the virtual machine and it's not running all the things that we're going to see now. So it's uh, reasonably fast to start up.
yes, the only thing that I'm not happy about at the moment is that I can't focus uh, Virtualbox, even though I would be curious.
Oh, you cannot like open the window of it, you mean? To see what's in there?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. I mean, at this stage, has it already downloaded the VM?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they downloaded the file and then imported into VirtualBox,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's running some commands to initialize the virtual machine inside VirtualBox, such as setting the name of the VM, as we can see, and probably some other things. I'm not sure why it's stalling now. It should be going on, but maybe there is something. Um,
Yeah. I mean, like what I'm seeing right now is like Polgar is viewing his VirtualBox VMs folder, and I'm not sure the Tatoeba VM is in here. So
Yeah, I mean, it says delete me default, whatever.
Delete me.
Yes. I mean, funny indeed, but
Oh, but we see it here
Oh,
now. Okay.
wish something
yeah.
changed.
Ah, okay.
I
Now it
don't know
got a
why
bit.
this changed this much, but
It was running.
Okay.
Okay, now I can see it's starting the virtual machine.
Yep.
okay. This is a server after all, so
Just taking the opportunity to say that Dr. Feet on YouTube says, "You guys are making learning new language easy. Much love. Thank you, Dr. Feet." And the review GG with us at GG say days. And Ibriden, someone which characters I can't read. Ibriden, which is understand. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
That's sweet.
So I think
okay.
we're
So
almost there.
if I understand this correctly, if you go a little upwards,
Oh, another error. Yeah, the whole mount path messages is because we need to mount a bunch of paths so that the 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 software that is a piece of software that is running inside the VM can write files outside of the VM, and it's just there so that it can write and it gives the proper permissions. So there are a bunch of files such as logs and temporary files, stuff like that. It's just making the the files reading and writing back and forth from outside and inside the VM work. But now we got this new error.
It's a permission
I
error.
don't know.
Okay.
Once there is this VM, it would be nice to at least be able to log in.
So to be able to log in the
Ah.
VM,
You can already log in. Actually, you just have background SSH from the your git bash command line, and since the VM is already running, should be able to SSH into. So the error we see, it has to do with the initialization of the configuration file. So once when you install for the first time, it runs this initialization steps, such as creating the config file and some other things, and there's a permission problem. I'm not sure why. So at the moment, the virtual machine is working, but the website is not configured properly. So you could connect to it, and then it will throw you some error.
right. Well, okay. If you want to access the VM, you can just press enter from here, background SSH, and it should log you in. Or maybe not. Oh, it does. Okay. There you are.
Yeah, it always takes a little while.
Mm.
So from there's this directory Tatoeba where you can see what is outside the VM.
Right. So all these files that are here is actually the Git repository
Yes.
that you have cloned.
And in that folder, you have this config folder in which it failed to write a new file. This app config, where is it?
Yeah, there's the app
App
underscore
local.
local.
There is a template file, and it tried to create the same file without the dot template. So what you could do here is try to run, try to see if you can write inside this directory. For example, you could run touch and something, and we'll try to create a new file. Or this, yeah. So, yeah.
So yeah, we have to figure out how to allow writing files.
So normally the whole mounting messages that we saw earlier are supposed to make this work. But so now the files are showing up as backgrounds.
Well,
Are you not
interesting.
sure
Mm.
why this is happening?
I mean, yeah, I mean the permissions here, from what I'm seeing, is like it's all the permissions are allowed to Vagrant, right? It can read, write, execute all the files. Maybe the folder itself has.
Yeah, but it could be also that on the other end, when you write a file in that directory, it is not writing inside the VM, it's writing outside the VM. So outside the VM, it's being mapped to another user. It should be you, and it's writing the file. And then over there, if it has no permission to write the file, then it's going to fail. So it could be either the error could be coming from outside or inside the VM. It's quite complex.
This is the time when I got bored of this. Like, why was it restricted in the first place?
So the button you just checked is to unrestrict access, to allow access, to allow full access, or what is it?
Yes, I don't want any restriction regarding writing the files. It's actually surprising how much time it takes
Yeah, I guess
to
it scans
apply
through
this.
each file one by one and changes the permissions, I guess. Okay. Well, I'm not sure how long this is gonna take. But I guess that would be so once the permissions are allowed, I guess if we type, I mean, if Polgar types again Vagrant up, then it's going to continue from where it stopped, right? Like it's going to
Actually,
try to,
no,
no?
it's not. If you want to restart it, you need to use the provision switch or something like that. So since the virtual machine already boot up, then Vagrant is considering everything's
Uh-huh.
is set up. It considering that the setup is complete, so it's not gonna run it that again unless you tell it to do so.
Okay.
What's the provision option? Actually, this initial setup is called provisioning. Um, Let me see if I can find the command.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's background up minus minus provision.
Okay.
That's not showing in the normal help, but it's showing inside. Background up minus minus help.
Anyways, first I want to stop it.
Just a side note that the banner on Tatoeba just disappeared.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's okay that it disappears at this point because I think we are anyway. I mean, hopefully, it's not going to take another 3 hours to manage to get Polgar to run Tatoeba, but uh, the stream is at least past the half um, length of it, so I think it's okay if the banner disappeared.
Okay. Apparently it managed to
Yeah, it shut
shut
down.
down the VM.
Well, hopefully this fixes the permission issues. Otherwise, maybe somebody out there can help us out, figure out how to set these permissions on Windows.
Okay, so going up, you say provision.
Yes. It's quite interesting to see how people manage to do that, because I've been working a lot on making this um, background, and so that it's easy for people to contribute. But then I can barely test it out on my own computer, maybe uh, my friends, but that's about it. And there are
Mm,
so much setups and different OSs and environment out there.
yeah. And I guess like also if people like Polgar like to install things in specific folders and stuff
Hmm.
instead of the default, it can make things a bit more complicated as well. I mean, I can say for me it just worked like out of the box, like just I I followed the step and I had no issues. But definitely depending on your OS, depending on the language of your OS, there can be problems happening. So Yeah, it was interesting. Like it's a good thing, Polgar, that you're showing
Hmm.
us how it works on your site. It's very educational.
Yeah, or how it doesn't for the matter.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's gonna end well.
Oh, authentication failure.
And that's normal
Oh,
because it's continuously tries to log in with SSH until it's succeed, and that's a sign that the virtual machine has completed the boot, but it's taking suspiciously long. I think
okay.
there is indeed some problem, some new problem.
Okay.
I think,
Anyway,
yeah,
this isn't the most informative feedback that
I think
I've ever seen.
it's gonna um, stop at some point, but it's not working. Did you run the same exact command with the environment variables and everything?
Yeah, I think I didn't see, but I think
I
like
think so.
he set, well, he had to set again the
Because
environment variable.
the the SSH key that you used to log into the virtual machine is stored in a place, I don't remember where, but it has to do with the path of the VM or what's not. So maybe it's not finding the right key, and that's why it cannot log in anymore. I'm not sure. Or maybe because I know that the first time it logs in, it uses a different key that is bundled with the virtual machine. So the first time it downloads the box and install it, it can log in right away. And then after that is done, it installed a new key, I think. So maybe something wrong happened during the installation.
Hmm. Yeah, you can probably force stop it.
Yeah, I think you can force stop it. And it, I think it will be quite long to debug all this. So your best bet now is to reinstall from scratch. So you can type background destroy. That's going to remove the the VM and then a new background up, and it's going to start over, but it's not going to download again. So it should be fast enough.
hmm Okay, is it stuck trying to stop
I think
or?
it's
Ah,
it is stopped. Yeah.
all right.
So now you
So,
could try background destroy.
I just failed to give back the prompt.
hmm
Now you can say no here. That is something because whenever we update the Virtualbox because we make some change in, for example, the search engine or something that has to do with the environment of Tatoeba, Then we publish a new VM so that the new code can work on everybody's machine. Here you can say yes. And whenever this happens, the procedure is to destroy the VM and then install it again just to get an updated version. But obviously, most of the time you don't want to lose all your database and everything. So that's why it prompts you to back up, and then you can restore the database if that happens.
Well, it didn't seem like it had the lot to not download VM
Yeah,
again.
that's quite strange because it's supposed to be storing the file somewhere and reuse it afterward. That's what we saw when Ricardo installed Tatoeba on the previous stream. We're quite lucky that it's very, very fast.
Okay, so I guess one tip for anyone who tries to install and it doesn't work right away, and like weird stuff happens, like they can try to like vagrant destroy and then vagrant up again. Maybe that's something we could add into the documentation to like as troubleshooting in case.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, well, this is where things get exciting.
Maybe it has to do about the permission problem. We're gonna see, hopefully, um, if what you did solved the problem or not. But I'm wondering if rebooting your computer maybe help with anything because it asks you to do so. So there must be some reason. I'm not sure.
Yes, it's the same thing.
Okay,
Ah,
still permissions. And
okay. Well, this step of initializing Tatoeba, it's quite easy to run on your own. So this setup automates this part, but you could do it by hand. It's a matter if since I know that you're comfortable with the command line, um, it's not. If I remember correctly, it's not that of a big deal. It involves like copying template files and changing some value to set up the configuration and and some other things. So that could be the last resort option.
yeah, I guess we could try that.
I'm gonna check the recipes, the Ansible recipes. Um,
That's probably something you can check as well on your site, Polgar, if you want to know. I mean, this is just going to execute some commands that are defined. I think you'll find them in the repository that you cloned, the Tatoeba repository. Like if you just open the files, there will be a
Yeah.
folder called Ansible, and that's the folder where like all the orchestration takes place, basically.
So basically, it should be a matter of a single command to run. That is a Python script inside the tool. So you can start it from here. You type /tools. Oh, sorry. First, you need to SSH into the VM to run this command. Otherwise, it won't work. So you need to first background SSH.
Well, I suppose it will fail again.
Yeah, but then if you can read Python, I don't know if you're familiar with Python, then everything is inside this this file. So from there, you see the Tatoeba, and then /tools, code init, but you need to run it from the parent folder. So basically,
Wow.
what it does is to generate the config files and then run a bunch of composer commands and cake migration. It's quite yeah, it's not working.
Yeah, by the way, this 20 gigabytes seems a bit too much.
What? Sorry? Oh, about this, it shouldn't be taking that much space. I think because Virtualbox optimizes the space. So if most of this disk consists of 0 bytes, then it's not going to take the whole space. You can check how much space the virtual machine takes, but it shouldn't be that much. Like 3 gigabytes. So there's a bit of compressions behind the scenes. So yeah, basically, if you look inside this code init file, it does two main things. The first thing is to generate the app local config file, and this file it's based on the template, and the template contains a lot of variables that are pulled from somewhere else. So this this can be done by hand. It's a little bit hard because there are lots of variables to change, but at least you could set a few of them. And then the second thing is the series of commands defined in the setup function a little bit more up. Those like composer, install, blah blah blah, and that's about it. That's how you basically initialize the code. If you were to run Tatoeba outside of the VM, and like if you would create the whole environment yourself, it's a shame that only this very last step fails.
Is there maybe another?
Not considering the other four parts that we had used before.
Is there maybe a place? I mean, because that's just a matter of permission issues, right? So, like the checkbox that you unchecked earlier apparently does not give enough permissions, but maybe is there another location where we can have, where you can like put this Tatoeba source code that has more chance to have the correct permissions?
Hmm, perhaps not.
Okay, I'm unfortunately not very aware of permission configurations in Windows, so I wouldn't be able to help you there. But yeah, the main thing missing here is really that the permissions on the Tatoeba folder don't don't allow writing and executing stuff. So and like even if we did all the config thing, would it actually still work? I mean, wouldn't there still be issues loading the website uh, in the browser because of these permissions issues?
It's like, what can I say? It's still
It's
no
still
matter of no matter that we have waited such a long time, it just won't actually let me
okay. That's maybe
unrestrict this folder.
that's maybe a setup that is more like a something in the system, the overall system configuration that prevents you for certain
Yeah.
paths that
I don't
prevents
know, this
you.
is kind of dumb, but like all I can say is, but like even the folder itself,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Maybe are you able to find another folder in your computer where this checkbox is not checked, and then you download the Tatoeba source code in there?
Well, I wouldn't use the C
Okay.
drive, so there is that.
Okay. Hmm.
I don't know who thought this was a great idea. Why would I want to restrict myself from accessing my own PC? No clue.
So you're changing the permissions now on the whole hard drive?
Well, it also raises some questions why this isn't. It's only a problem for Vagrant, not for anything else.
What is the problem for only Vagrant? To be able to write files, you mean?
Yes.
Mm,
Do you think this could be related with a computer reboot thing?
there's a chance, maybe. I mean,
I know, because it has to do with VirtualBox writing to a shared folder outside of the VM. So it's kind of related to a um, kernel, maybe in I don't know much about Windows, but in the Linux world, they will be involving a kernel driver to allow the kind of connection between the VM and the host. So I'm just wondering, maybe this has to do. Like, I would be very surprised if it does, but
Mhm. Yeah. I mean that I mean if we don't find any solution, I guess I mean we will have to end the stream at some point. And
yeah,
I guess it's okay. We can end today on a non-complete installation, and maybe at a later stage, Polgar, you can whenever you restart your computer, you can try to run Vagrant up again to see if it makes any difference. But if not, we can probably research a bit offline on how to.
Yes, it doesn't seem like anything is happening at the moment, so
Okay. Yeah, and
I think we could call it a day for now.
yeah, I personally don't think I would have other ideas. It's for sure something to do with the permissions. Maybe you have to look further into how permissions are configured for your F drive, uh, and yeah, and maybe restarting your computer will do something. But maybe we call it for today. Uh, so just as an end note, so normally this was the last step. So if you typing, I mean, with you typing Vagrant up, if everything is working fine and there's no permission issues or no encoding issues, then everything is set up through this one command, Vagrant up. And once Vagrant up is finished, you would be able to go to your browser and type in your browser. Actually, that's probably the next step that are explained in the installation article. If you can display it again quickly.
I think you could even do it. It's gonna fail, but at least we can see that uh, how it's done.
You mean to type localhost 8080?
Yeah, yeah. It should be showing something like a bunch of
Ah,
errors
okay.
because
Ah,
there is
okay.
no app local config file, so
Mm,
cakephp is gonna crash.
mm-hmm.
But at least we can see like how it's supposed to
Right.
be done to
Okay.
access it.
Okay. So Polgar, can you just type in your browser localhost and then the port 8080?
I think I've already stopped the VM,
Oh, yes, you did. My
and
bad.
since some
Ah,
reconfiguration is going on, I'm not sure whether it would work right now. Or it would be a good idea to
okay.
try to start it now.
Yeah, no, fine.
Okay. Then let's go back to the installation article. Uh, just to summarize with the last steps. So we were at the step where you typed Vagrant up, yeah, and then the step afterwards it says once it's completed, you should be able to access your local instance of Tatoeba at HTTP localhost 8080. And then there's information about the default user that are available in this local instance, which unfortunately we won't be able to test with you today, but I hope we can fix that for you for within the next, well, whenever you're available. Maybe not necessarily on stream, but we can check that offline whenever you're available. Okay, so I think that's it for the stream today. Maybe we can switch back to the view with everyone. I'll stop sharing my screen as well. Okay. So, yeah, Polgar. So I hope you don't give up on installing Tatoeba. I hope we can get to have that working for you. But besides of that, thank you very much for joining us and for being the one showing us today on how to install Tatoeba. Again, even if we didn't manage, it's super interesting to see how it works for people who have different configurations, different OS, different languages, because obviously it can be pretty difficult to make it like completely seamless for everybody. So that's here we learn about other details to care about. So the next stream, I don't have a clear idea yet of the content. But I would encourage, I mean, everybody who's watching it to try to install Tatoeba on your side and to report to us if you have similar issues as what Polgar had. And we're going to try to see if we can do something so that it works better for everybody, or if we can at least put instructions about what you should check uh, in your configurations to make things work. Yeah, and I mean, it could be that next stream we try again with somebody else who installs Tatoeba. But if not, we could also try to take someone who has a working Tatoeba environment, so who managed to install and to go to localhost 8080 and has everything working. And with them, we could try to go and solve a very, very simple simple problem or a very simple task, and show the whole workflow of how it works from the moment where you have an idea of something you want to change and then go into the source code and change it, and then how do you submit a pull request, and how do we include it in Tatoeba, and how it goes into the real website. So we could also show that. We'll see. But anyway, thank you everyone for joining.